Okay, I didn't expect the camera to do that. That's not the game's fault, that's my fault for not expecting the camera to do that, so I guess go down by a few more. No, that works pretty good. So it's down to 4-meter ramps. I mean, I don't have a problem doing this across the top, but I didn't want to move all of this stuff. I thought going up over the top would be a lot cooler than it was, but it wasn't. But this I think is pretty cool, right? And you know what I just realized? Also, is doing it that way, that arc that goes down, that gives you a speed boost for when you hit the straight part. So this is better than just going straight across the top. I mean, you lose some of the momentum when you come out of the other end, but for the whole time that you're going across this part, you're going faster than you would be otherwise, at a rate and quantity that is higher than not going down and then over. I mean, this is good you know, if you feel like being lazy, like otherwise I'd have to run over there, and that'd probably be like 2 or 3 or 4 crouch jumps for the jetpack. Like, but this doesn't look bad, or what is that? Is that a fix-it box? I don't know. It doesn't look particularly too bad. I mean, you're going through the floor, but I kind of don't care about that. I'm trying to make perfectly matching. Like, I couldn't put a lift thing here where this is, and trying to line up the blueprint to where the lift input goes where I want it to go. It's just like, I'm just gonna put it through the floor block. It looks a little janky, but again, that's not the game, that's just me. Like, and if you want like a lore speculative like explanation, it's just magic technology that allows you to do that. That's why it's a hypertube. You go through the hyper dimension. It just lets you hypertube your way through solid objects. Because they're hypertube. Because they're hypertube. Right? See, when that happens, and I misjudge like when to release a jump back, and I get it bounce off the edge of whatever thing it is. If you've ever wondered what it, you know, watching a beetle fly around and then bounce off the wall. Or watching a fly around in circles and then bang their head off the window. There's some rare parrots here. I gotta fix that. My power cells that I had. Put in this storage container here. I found them. You know, I should put a sorter for those right on the front of where the sorter is. I mean, I guess the easiest place to add a sorter branch and have it be closer to the hub would be probably over here. That way I don't have to go and fish through the boxes for the power shards. And while it's possible, I don't think it'll probably take me a while to fill up an entire storage box with power cells. So I shouldn't have to worry about the overflow. You know, they'll make something like this and be like, well, you see, it's not that complicated. If you just do this thing over here, and then some stuff with the overlay, like, The funny part about the module, though, is it isn't complicated. It's the simplest solution across all the criteria I needed to be for. Like, if I stand here, I know that the left side is the storage box and the splitter, and the right side is the overflow, and the middle is always the, you know, whatever part that isn't this part. And then you just make a whole bunch of them and go down the line and set the splitter to whatever thing it is. And connect all these to all of those. All of the smart splitters to all of the smart splitter. And if you want to power a lazy box that's in a more convenient spot far away from everything, like that's the encased concrete beams, steel pipes, and the steel beams that are coming from the sorter, that are coming from coal and from oil, that's going to those two boxes that are getting merged with this and the sorter box. It's then getting put through the sorter, and each one of these matches a different item. But the lazy box takes from this input, you run it down, and you just connect whatever parts, because that's the parts box. That, like, if I went shopping in the sorter store, like, I would just go to whatever box. I guess that's the biomass box. I mean, the one that I know has stuff in it is the fuel box. Like, all of this other stuff, I have no idea what any of it is. No clue. I have to figure out how to do signs or something. But the stuff that I know what it is the fuel, the power shards, all the steel stuff, the plastic, the rubber, and the beams that are coming from plastic and oil, or plastic and or oil and coal. I think this stuff is mostly basic crafting stuff, all the way to the stuff that's coming from oil and coal. I need to figure out how to do signs. This also, the magic box sorter system here, I plan on upgrading this to Mark V at some point. And when I do, I'm missing a floor piece. I'm gonna hook every part box up to a drone. Like, this connection here is gonna go to a drone. So what that means is I could go anywhere on the map and throw down a drone and a biomass burner and request whatever parts I wanted. Whatever, anything I wanted from the sorter. And then when the drone returns with whatever payload it has, it just goes into the sorter. But again, back to the module thing, is the splitter. This splitter here, that's attached to all of them. most of them aren't being used. That splitter splits whatever the input is, whatever from whatever source from the sorter. It splits half of it into the storage box and then half into the machines that consume that part. This is for running machines off of whatever is in the sorter. So what that means is it'll siphon off whatever parts per minute from the sorter, and in this case it's plastic, until these two boxes are full. Half goes in the box, half goes down the line to the machine. And then once they're full, all of the parts per minute goes down the line to the machines that eat the parts. And it happens automatically just by the stuff getting full. And the nice part about this module is if there ever happens to be an overflow on any particular part, it goes down the overflow. Like the concrete. The concrete is full. And the reason that it's full is I'm pretty sure there's just, I think that tower of boxes is my concrete beam box. Never mind, this is stators. I made a few stators out of the pipes that I had in storage. I had to gather slugs and do all of the other stuff leading up to me being here, standing on this thing. Building the platform, taking the other stuff down, putting the stuff in the sorter, managing the sorter, running the lines from the sorter to the lazy box aisle over by the portal hub. Everything up to this point, and there's still sulfur on the line that I ran by accident, and then decided I'll probably need it at some point. That's the concrete beam box. No. Something else is wrong. I must have disconnected the concrete when I was deleting stuff. Yeah, that would be, yeah. This seems excessive, and it seems like a waste of time, but the only thing that would make storing these parts, because I plan to use them, the only thing that would make this a waste of time would be if the machines were sitting here not running, not making parts, and putting the parts in the awesome center. Because eventually I can make a machine that consumes these at, like, I can make multiple inputs for 480. Like, if I made 10 sets of machines that all had the same input, and I manually filled up the input box with just these parts, that would be 4,800 parts a minute. Like, the more machines you have, the faster it goes, and you're limited by belt speed. So what that means is if you build a machine that's built around the maximum consumption of whatever belt speed you have, you can duplicate those. But in the future, when it comes time to be like, man, I need to make a whole other factory for this part that I didn't have running the whole time otherwise. And then what I was saying in the other video, I forget which one, just how simple it is. Like, you can hook a box and a merger up to an input line that is already there and supplied by machines. And because the box isn't getting any more parts in it, and it's consuming parts without any more parts going into that particular box, that just means that the machines that are making the parts at the speed that the other machines are consuming the parts, they just wait for the other parts to be consumed. So you never have extra parts. Like, if you need a high volume of a particular part really fast, you can make a set of machines based on whatever belt speed. Like, it would take a lot more machines and a lot more power, so it's not as efficient to do it with a lower belt speed, but you can get high parts per minute with low belt speeds. Just a ton of machines in parallel. But yeah, eventually I'm gonna make a machine that just chews through those encased beams. Pretty sure you need them for nuclear power. You know, I didn't even think about it, but I could make a sorter box over at oil and just throw whatever junk it is. just in that same line. It's the same line that connects to this order. Not sure how much having a regulator on these two lines would be, like how good it would be, like to have a regulator in a sense where it both merges and splits both lines into each other. So what that means is if this line is backed up, it just puts whatever part flow into the other line. And if that one is backed up, then it puts whatever part flow into the other one. I think I should do that. There's a way to do it with just splitters and just mergers. But if I use smart splitters and just set the overflow, it should be simpler and only do just that one thing and not anything else. That way, if either line gets blocked, it'll automatically just divert it to whatever one isn't blocked whenever it isn't blocked between the two of them. You know, I should probably put the same thing on the overflows down there. I have so many stators. For the pipes to be going into the overflow again, that means the stator box is full. The stator tower. Yeah, there's a few stators. All of those will disappear when I turn on the motor machines. But in order to turn on the motor machines, I have to put in iron to make the stuff to run the other part, to make the rotors for the motor machines. And I'm gonna have so much iron because before I did that, I had to get the 9 slugs for the 3 miners to make as much iron as close to the base as I can, and make separate lines for each thing. I'm not sure if it's gonna go up to 480 for each one, but because I can upgrade it later, I think I'll just make a line for each thing and then upgrade it later. For whatever each mine, for whatever each node gives me with 3 slugs in it. But that would take care of the iron requirement for all the stuff with the yellow lights. This is like the end point for pretty much every medium part that requires an assembler. And rather than make one whole factory that does just the one thing, I just run the conveyor back to the base and put it in the assemblers. And then in cases where I have an excess of parts, because I was working on one thing while one set of machines was running, trying to chew through other parts. In the case of the stators and this thing and that thing and this thing and circuit boards. There's only so much time to do so much stuff, and everything that I've done is something that I've had to do up till now. It's, you know, flashback to me saying the same exact thing. But the overflow was over full because of the iron, the copper, and the other stuff. So I had to put in separate sorters for those in the overflow sorter. And then I noticed the belts from the output boxes going into the sorter from the 2 lines were stopping. One was stopping while the other one was going, while the other one was stopping. I had the idea to put in the auto regulators, so I had to put that on the input, the output, and the output to the input of the storage tower for the sorter, because that was full. It was full of ore. And I'm not in a hurry to do anything. And it's a sandbox game, so you kind of can't play it too wrong. I mean, anything can be a smoke machine if you operate it wrong enough. Like, you know, if you put the wrong parts in, the machine's won't run. But But I'm at the point now where, like with what I did with the frames and the circuit boards, is I could just throw down a blueprint for free assemblers that just choose through the backlog of parts and not care about it. And when it looks like it's run through all the backlog of parts and made it into the other part that I didn't have before, it'll shut down and sit there. If I have a supply of parts going to it, I can just turn off the machines and adjust the machines, because that's all hooked up to the same input. So when I make the parts for the frame maker, I can just connect it underneath the platform to the iron stuff, and that'll just stay running and making frames, and I'll have to make a tower of frames. And none of it is going into an awesome sink. Awesome sink is bad. Awesome sink, not your friend. What is the inline splitter bad? I mean, like, and the to-do list has very many things on the to-do list. Like, I was looking over there and I was like, should I add a tower of Caterium? And the answer is probably yeah, just so I have it made when I decide to use it. Because the whole time that I'm doing any other thing, I could be making Caterium going up a tower. And the 1 box is nice, but 20 boxes would be great. And then it's already made if I ever need it. Which, that's how it sneaks up on you. Like, you don't think that you need a part, and then all of a sudden you need a lot of that part. Like, but I could hook the output for the Caterium up to the AI limiter. And I think I need to supply sheets to that or something. But see, that's a whole bunch of work, because connecting that means that I then have to go over to copper and then put in the sheet maker and then merge that sheet maker with the other sheet maker that's already coming over here, and then split it off so that it gets distributed between the 2 circuit board machines and the AI limiter. And you can only be in one spot doing one thing at a time. But right now, since I don't really need AI limiters, and I'm looking over at circuit boards, and I don't know what's ailing the circuit boards. It's short on plastic for some reason. Did it chew through all of the plastic in the sorter? Or did I disconnect it? I probably disconnected it. No, there's none coming in from the overflow. Did I break it? I might have broke it. So, let me get up to the top thing there. No, it's not broken, it's just empty. So yeah, like I said, there's no reason to throw stuff in the awesome sink. You know, barring the extreme case where, you know, you kind of don't care, and there's going to be a crazy overflow like with bullets or novelisks eventually, you just have so many that it's just like throw them in the awesome sink. You can't make them into anything else. You're not going to use like 200,000 like novelisks for anything ever. Just throw it in the awesome sink. Pretty sure these boxes might be getting closer to the full. Then again, I did only have some amount of iron. Where's the ore? There it is. Copper ore. No, I've still got the 2 boxes. And I really only had just a few boxes of stuff as far as the ore went, so. And if it overflows, it'll just go into the overflows overflow. But to not have to go through all of these manually. Wow, it went through the overflows overflow. Holy crap. Steel beams, yeah. How? The nice part too is it lets me know what machines aren't consuming parts, because if it makes it to the overflow, I mean, then it's not consuming parts. Yep, it finally happened. Every bit of rubber is going to be an overflow now. So I don't have any machines that consume it. I got to run manufacturers to make the modular things. The never-ending tower of rubber. The other nice part about the sorter module is you have 2 boxes, 2 industrial boxes of whatever part it is before it kicks it to the overflow. So as far as crafting or whatever goes, you don't really have to worry. so long as it went through the sorter probably has at least 2 boxes of whatever it is. And you would think that I never made a sorter before, and the truth is I haven't. I never bothered because it was so many connections. Blueprints were only recently added during like the end of one of my playthroughs, and then I stopped playing, and then I came back for a little bit, and then I kind of made a vertical sorter because I had the hover pack. But no, this module is my best attempt at a sorter module because it simply handles everything that I could do with storage, sorting, or splitting, or overflow. For as many items as I want, as easily as I can make it. You know, as the blueprint. And plus the blueprint nicely, modularly snaps to itself in a line. And it can be used for anything. Anywhere that you need sorting to happen, like, it does everything that you would need a sorter to do in the module. If you need a drone board, and you need batteries sorted, or the different fuel types, or whatever, like, or the input or the output, or anything, or if you know that you have a certain number of parts, this is the module. In my opinion, like, of all of my attempts to make a sorter, this is the one. Space, parts, the stuff it does, how easy it is to set up, everything. But because there's only, like, I don't know the best way to put it, but, like, if the list of criteria that were required for a given thing was like a shape, and your attempt was like clay, like if you had a wooden plank with a square hole in it, and you pushed clay through it, there's a good chance that what came out of the hole would resemble a square. Like in the same way that a key is made to hit the tumblers in the lock in just the right way, there's only so many things that are going to work, which means, and since form follows function, it's probably a good chance it resembles other people's sorter. And I really like to use the lifts to go up and down and snap them to the mergers. Not only does it look cool, but functionally, because you can just attach another merger or something to another lift. And it looks kind of cool. Kind of looks like a creature out of like a Zelda game or something. Like this spider from Ocarina of Time. You know, in the temple. The first, or not temple, the tree. I think it's a tree. And I know it can be boring sometimes, and from what I've noticed from watching my own videos is the hardest part of watching a Satisfactory video that isn't edited is there's so much stuff to be looking at any given time that you have no idea what the person playing the game is going to look at or what they're going to do. So, like, you could be watching this thing and be wondering, well, what does this thing do? And then, like, they look over here, it's like, oh, look, there's a bird. Like, and that's my own take of watching my own videos. It's like, you have no idea what the person's going to do, and there's just so much stuff on the screen that it's like, what am I looking at? Like, And if you don't play the game, you have no idea what anything is or what anything does. Like, and then there's that is I would build stuff in a different way if it seemed like it was a better way to build it differently. And it would look differently if there was a better way to build it. But back to the looking at stuff goes, like, if I'm stopped and I'm looking at stuff, I'm watching the belt speed. Like, I just put in this auto regulator. It seems like whatever combination of items is between the three things and the three boxes, something isn't matching, so they can't just, like, it doesn't just have a stack of stuff to flow into in the box. But it is auto-regulating between the two towers and the two lines. And then I've got the auto-regulator on the input down here. And I just put it in, and I'm not sure how well it's going to work or if it's going to make stuff worse. So you kind of have to watch it to see if it's going to do stuff. You have to watch it to see if it's going to do the thing that you think that it's going to do. That looks cool. And this is less like me trying to narrate everything that I'm doing on the screen, and more just me playing the game for the sake of like what it looks like when somebody plays the game. So if anybody watches any of the videos, like if I stop and I do this because it looks cool, it's because it looks cool. Like it's not, I'm not trying to do like an informative video or a competition between my design versus this design I saw on somebody else's video, because I don't watch other people's videos. Not that they're not good to watch, it's just I would rather build my own stuff. Which brings me back to the likelihood of it resembling somebody else's design. It's likely because there's, you know, if you mashed clay against a square hole in a piece of wood, it'd probably resemble a square on the other side, like Play-Doh. Like, or if it was triangle shaped, it'd probably look like a triangle. But yeah, this is why I don't talk in my videos most of the time. Because no amount of talking about what is on the screen is really going to help. It's not going to give a person a first-hand understanding of playing the game. But the nice part is, it is really cool to look at. Like, see that? That's not a mistake. Like, I don't have just floating platforms out into nowhere, like, because I don't know how to build a factory. It's because, one, it saves on space, time, and everything else. You just throw down a flat platform with the soup build mode, and then throw blueprints for whatever input, you know, from the ore node, and you're done. But with the added benefit of I could be here and look over there at the copper factory, and it just It's just this floating platform that's connected to the ground by the triangle that you would use to walk up it. It's kind of like, it's not necessarily absurd so much as a little bit surreal. You know, like if you saw a painting of a waterfall, but it's going upward, like it's going off the edge and then it suddenly just goes straight up into the sky. Like, and it's kind of a hard thing to separate absurd from surreal. They're real similar, so it's hard to say one thing isn't the other thing sometimes. And this was an unintended happy accident that I could just walk down the aisle, and if the storage thing is full, I can see whatever thing is in the box. It'd be nice if the character was like a little taller to where you don't have to like try to jump to see what's on a platform every time. Like, if the character was just slightly taller, or this was just slightly lower, or if the items were slightly elevated, like you can't see plates. Like plates, you can't see those. You'd have to be like right up on top of it and mashing your face on the thing to like, but to be able to see it at a distance what it is. I know it's an unintended function of just having that conveyor go to the second storage thing, but you can also see when stuff is getting sorted into the box. Not sure if the auto regulator is better or worse. Because the thing that's happening is now it's diverting the different item types as they're coming down the line between the two lines. And that would be a problem, except the auto regulator on the front is just going to divert it to whatever tower anyway. So I think the problem is there's no matching item that's in this box, so yeah, everything else is full, so it's just gonna do that item every time. And there are so many screws. I gotta find the screw box and connect it to the screw box over here. So do you ever get lost in your factory? Yes. All the time. I'll find one of my, like, corpses. Because I got lost in the factory and couldn't get out and find food. Found an old jam sandwich in a box. Here are the screws. I didn't need that angle. Or just make a factory to build a new one. Put the power slug in the new angle. This way. The other thing about having huge storage towers full of parts is the machine will run until it's full and then stop. And it's not hurting anything while it's running and building up the box and then stops. And then when it stops, you have all the parts that you would have otherwise anyway. And since you don't have access to everything when you start the game and you have to unlock stuff, having a surplus of a certain part is a good thing. Because the whole time that the one storage box, the one small storage box is full, you could have had that full when it comes time to do the stuff at the hub and then make the stuff that you need the stuff for. Once you know blueprints, you can make sets of assemblers that just chew through parts. As many as you have, as many inputs as you want to make for as high as your belt speeds are. You never have extra parts. You just have wasted time of machines that would otherwise be running making parts. And then the same mindset will tell you, well, just throw it in the awesome sink. Why would you throw it in the awesome sink? It's like spending all the time to make a chicken cordon bleu from scratch. Which it takes a little while to do that. And then baking it to perfection. You know, check it with the meat thermometer and everything, and it's just one part of a meal, and then looking at it and throwing it in the garbage. Okay? and then wondering why you don't have the parts later. I got these tickets. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but just because, you know, trying to be funny. Like, the awesome sink is not bad, and the awesome shop is not bad. It's not that simple. I mean, I'm trying to make the point that having towers of parts and machines that are running making parts is better than not having that, or throwing them in the awesome sink. Because you can make X amount of sets of 3 assemblers or constructors or whatever thing shoot through that part at like an insane rate of speed if you need parts per minute. The faster you need the frames, the more sets of 3 assemblers you make, is what I'm saying. Like, those circuit board makers, I have to go adjust those and turn those down. Because they chewed through all the plastic that was in the overflow. I have to go set it to 90 a minute, which I think it's half of what it was. But yeah, those 6 assemblers chewed through that entire tower of plastic all the way down the end there. It's empty. And now none of it is going through the overflow through the sorter from the input box because every bit of it is going to the circuit boards that have yellow lights because they're not getting enough plastic. Because it chewed through all of that stuff. And now I have 2 towers of circuit boards. Where otherwise I would have awesome tickets. I think this is just added this one. Yeah, Tower O circuit board. Which I'm gonna need all of these to make into computers. Yeah, these are both the circuit board machines. So I think it's 90. I don't think I've got anything else doing plastic. You have to turn these 3 off. And the nice part is, I don't have to delete anything, change any belts around, do anything but just turn these off. And the sheet maker that's making the sheets for this set of 3, it'll back up, but any overflow will just automatically fill up that machine. And this eventually will fill up with plastic up to here, to where the splitter has no choice but to feed the plastic to just the one machine. And all I did was hit the 3 switches to turn it off. I don't have to delete anything. And if I ever have an overflow of plastic again, which I might, because I might go crazy and make a crazy plastic factory. Sometimes that happens. Like with what happened with the sulfur before, is I saw an opportunity while I was out there to make the 2480 for the compacted coal. But they still got to go out and do black powder bullets and all of that stuff. But I wanted to make sure that before I go out that the sorter was running right, these machines were running right, I had enough slugs to do the rods and the screws and everything for the other assemblers. So I have to turn on the motor machine because Tower O stator is full. I might even have to make another set of motor machines to chew through all of the stators at a reasonable time. You know, 20 hours later and you still have Tower O stator. Now you need more machines. Tree splitting has one drawback, but you only see it in certain machine types, like stuff that needs like hundreds and hundreds of screws for one machine, like for manufacturers, like you have to make your own screw line at 480 from start to finish that goes dedicated to just that one manufacturer. Because if you split by 3 and then split by 3 and then split by 3 by 3, I mean, whatever your input is gets divided by 3 also. Every time that you do a tree split. So if you start with 100, those are all getting like 33. And then if you split those into another set of machines, and then you make so many screws from one set of machines that you exceed the belt speed, and so that's like the rare case where tree splitting is bad. But for like 2 or 3 sets of machines, like you can run 9 machines off of a tree splitter and be fine. Most of the inputs don't exceed the parts per minute for a 480 belt to be split 3 times, or 3 times, and then it'd be what, divided by 9? Divided by 3 and then divided by 3 again. I don't think that's 9. No. But still. The glow flowers. See, we would probably have cool stuff like this on planet Earth here. Except for my first instinct when I see the glow flowers and the rare parrot, it should be like, oh, I'm gonna go pick those. I wonder what that parrot tastes like. It's pretty slow. I'm gonna whop him on the head and eat him. I don't know if you can kill the parrot. I'm not gonna kill the parrot. But I thought about it. My first instinct when I see the berries of the barrel nuts is to go, I've got to go get that. And then get distracted and end up in the swamp gas and die. Can't believe I died to the swamp gas. Or, I don't know what kind of gas it is, or if it's a creature or a bug or something that just emits that from their hives as a byproduct. I don't know what it is, but the green stuff bad. Yeah, I need to take a break here before I do the iron. I think everything is about where I need it to be as far as the sorter, the lazy box here by the hub. The overflow seems handled. The overflow for the overflow seems handled. Still can't believe it chewed through all of that plastic. I know, I'm just running on parts per minute now. That's crazy. But it's proof of what I'm saying. I mean, tower of like pre-made parts. That's all like stored time. Like if you could take a picture of time and turn it into an item and put it in a box, why would you throw that away? You're gonna need it later, and there's no way to make up for the time that you threw out in the box, or the machine, or the parts that's just sitting there not making parts. Like, but yeah, I'm gonna click the button here, call it a video, start a new video, probably 10-20 minutes. Okay, I take a break. pick a new color.